Everyone thinks wars are won by missiles, fighter jets, drones, aircraft carriers, and angry speeches. But in real world, especially in 2026, wars are won by balance sheets, oil bills, currency movements, shipping routes, investor confidence, and the ability of a country to stay calm when everyone else is panicking. And that is exactly how India quietly won Iran America war without firing a single bullet. Because while America wanted to look powerful, Iran wanted to look dangerous. Israel wanted security. Europe wanted another meeting. Pakistan, as usual, wanted attention. And oil traders wanted volatility. India wanted only one thing: stability. And in geopolitics, the country that protects its economy during someone else's war is often the real winner. Now, look at what happened. After the reported US Iran interim peace deal, Brent crude fell to around $78.8 per barrel, and WTI came near $75.8 after both benchmarks fell about 5% for a second straight session, reaching almost 3-month lows. And for a country like India, this is not just a market news. This is a national relief. When America fires missiles, Iran blocks trade routes, Europe gives statements, Pakistan searches for relevance, and global media screams war. India quietly opens Excel and checks the import bill because that is where the real war is fought. India is the world's third largest oil importer. India meets around 88% of its crude oil needs through imports. Around 51% of gas needs through imports, and India consumes around 5.6 million barrels of crude every single day, moving towards almost 6 million barrels per day. So even a $1 movement in crude is not small for India. At 5.6 million barrels per day, $1 is roughly $5.6 million every single day and around $2 billion annually before adjustments. So when oil falls by 5, 10, or $15, that is not a headline. That is pressure coming off India's trade deficit, inflation rupee, government finances, petrol, diesel sensitivity, fertilizers, costs, aviation fuel, transport cost, and the mood of the entire economy. This is why I keep saying in today's world, emotion is for speeches, but money decides policy. Now, understand the Strait of Hormuz. Because Hormuz is not just a waterway, Hormuz is a global cash register. Before the closure, almost one fifth of global crude oil and LNG supplies passed through this route. And when Hormuz is disturbed, oil does not ask whether you are America, India, Japan, China, or Europe. Oil simply becomes expensive for everyone. And the funny part is, America sits far away, print dollars, plays superpower, and then when the Middle East burns, countries like India have to manage the inflation, import bills, and currency pressure. Very convenient model was start the fire, send statements, and let oil importing countries do the accounting. But this time, India did not panic. And this is where Modi government's strategy becomes important. Because India has slowly diversified trade import routes. From around 40 countries, the government has said around 70% of crude imports are now coming from routes outside the Strait of Hormuz, compared with about 55% earlier. And India's daily consumption is around 55 lakh barrels, with secured volumes exceeding what would normally have come through Hormuz during this period. This is not luck. This is preparation. And the preparation is the boring thing that saves you when dramatic people create crisis. India did not win this war by choosing America or Iran. India won by choosing India. Talk to America, keep channels with Iran, protect Gulf workers, watch oil supplies, manage the rupee, and never become someone else's sidekick. Now look at the rupee, because this is where the silent win becomes visible. After oil softened, the Indian rupee touched a 6-week high at around 94.43 per US dollar, after climbing about 1.2% over 6 sessions. And Reuters clearly reported that lower Brent crude below $80 helped the rupee, because for India, oil is bought in dollars. So when oil goes up, dollar demands goes up. Rupee comes under great pressure. Inflation risk rises and policymakers get a headache. When oil becomes down, the rupee breathes. Bond investors relax. Stock markets feel better and importers stop sweating. Overseas investors also poured more than $2 billion into Indian bonds over 8 sessions after RBI took steps. While average daily foreign equity outflows reduced from around 45.12 billion rupees during the Iran conflict period to about 22.6 billion rupees after the announcement. So this was not just a political event. This was a financial mood swing. And this is the real meaning of power in 2026. Not who shouts the loudest, but whose currency stays stable when missiles are flying. Now compare India's approach with Pakistan, because Pakistan's foreign policy model is very simple. If there is a war anywhere, search for relevance. If there is a crisis anywhere, search for funding. If there is a global meeting anywhere, give emotional statements. And if nothing works, blame India. But India is not playing that old South Asian drama. India is playing balance sheet geopolitics. In May, India's merchandise exports were around $45.2 billion. Imports were around $73.4 billion, and the trade deficit was around $28.2 billion. So cheapest oil directly matters, because energy imports are one of the biggest pressure on India's external account. India's retail inflation in May was around 3.93%, already affected by food and fuel pressures. So if oil cools, India gets space, the RBI gets space, the government gets space, consumers get space, and businesses get space. America wanted to look powerful. Iran wanted to look dangerous. Oil traders wanted profit. Pakistan, as usual, wanted attention. But India wanted lower oil, stronger rupee, stable market, and protected growth. Guess who actually got they wanted? Now, some people will say, but India did not do anything. Exactly. That is the point. Sometimes the smartest move in geopolitics is not to dance in someone else's wedding and not cry in someone else's funeral, but to protect your own house. India did not blindly support America, because India has energy, connectivity, Chabahar, Central Asia access, and Gulf workers' interest linked to the region. India also did not foolishly side with Iran against America, because America is a technology partner, a trade partner, defense partner, and market partner. India did not behave like an emotional teenager. India behaved like a serious civilization state with a calculator. This is the new India. Not anti America, not pro Iran, not scared of China, not obsessed with Pakistan, just pro India. And this is where Narendra Modi's foreign policy deserves credit. Because the old India used to ask, what will the world think? New India asks, what is India getting? And that is why India can buy oil from Russia when it helps India, talk to America when technology helps India, engage with the Gulf when energy and workers matter, build relations with Iran when connectivity matters, and still tell the world that India's national interest is not available for rent. Now understand the bigger picture, the bigger economic lesson. During 2024-25, India imported around 300 million metric tons of crude and petroleum products and exported about 65 million metric tons oil and gas alone, account for nearly 28% of India's total trade by volume and freight. This itself is a big cost. Indian companies pay around $5 per barrel to transport crude from the US and around $1.2 from the Middle East. While Indian public sector oil companies have spent nearly $8 billion in 5 years on chartering ships, which shows why the next big opportunity is not just buying oil, but owning ships, building tankers, securing sea lanes, and controlling more of our own supply chain. Under Modi, India's port capacity has increased from around 872 million metric tons per annum in 2014 to around 1681 million metric tons. Cargo volumes have gone from 581 million tons to around 855 million tons. Port turnaround time has reduced by 48% and idle time has reduced by 29%. So while the world sees only oil prices, India sees maritime power, shipping power, refinery power, trade route power, and long term national power. The real lesson of the Iran America war is simple. Missiles create headlines, but ships, ports, oil routes, currency, and reserves create power. The country that controls supply chains controls inflation. The real lesson of the Iran America war is simple. Missiles create headlines, but ships, ports, oil, currency, and reserves create power. The country that controls supply chains controls inflation. The country that controls inflation controls politics. And the country that controls politics controls the future. So, how exactly did India win? Number one, oil came down. Number two, rupee strengthened. Number three, investors' mood improved. Number four, India avoided taking unnecessary sides. Number five, India diversified. Number six, the world saw again that India is too important to ignore. And number seven, New India proved that it will not become a junior partner to anyone. And the most important thing, this is not a permanent victory because Hormuz is still uncertain. Tanker traffic has not fully normalized. The peace deal is still not interim. Israel is not fully comfortable. Iran still has leverage. And oil can again become volatile. But in the middle of this chaos, India has bought time, reduced pressure, and protected growth. That is what smart countries do. They do not celebrate too early. They prepare for the next shock. Final point, the Iran America war taught the world one brutal truth. The next war will not only be fought on land, sea, and air. It will be fought through oil, gas, currency, ships, ports, payment systems, food, fertilizers, and supply chains. And India's silent win is that it understood this game better than many loud countries. America may have the missiles, Iran may have Hormuz, Europe may have statements, Pakistan may have delusion, but India has something more important. And that is 140 crore people, a growing economy, a sharper foreign policy, and the confidence to say, we will not fight your war. We will protect our future. That is how India quietly won the Iran America war, not by firing, not by shouting, but by staying calm, staying practical, and making sure that when the world burned, India's balance sheet survived.